On today's episode of the CLS Experience, we have a very exclusive treat. She's a super entrepreneur, international speaker, host of the I Dare You podcast, co-founder of Super Connector Media, and author of the soon-to-be best-selling instant classic, Be Seen, just to name a few. As a speaker, she shared the stage with top thought leaders and moguls, and her work has been featured in Forbes, Business Insider, Maxim, Women's Health, and other major publications around the globe. No big deal. She's been named one of the top 50 speakers in the world, and her ability to inspire people to be seen as their true selves is second to none. She's just a juggernaut in all facets of life and a terrific wife and human. Please welcome the master manifester, energetic and confident, the beautiful and brilliant, my dear friend, Jen Gottlieb. How you doing, Jen?
Greg, wait, I need that intro. You need to send that to me. That bio is amazing. Thank you. I'm like gonna cry over here. You're amazing.
When we first connected, like 15 minutes ago before we record, we almost both cried just to see each other. It's weird. We have that really special bond and connection. We have so much love for each other. But we're right across the Manhattan right now. It's a crazy day out, but you're back for a second time in the show. I couldn't be more excited about it. I don't have to tell the audience to play catch up. They know exactly who you are, but we're going to have a lot of fun today. One of the things that we're going to talk about, obviously, is the book and all that stuff. But I wanted to ask you another question right out the gate. You ready to get a little weird?
Oh, let's get weird. Let's do it.
When you wake up every day, what are some non-negotiables for you?
Okay, so I have a couple non-negotiables in the morning, and this has changed. Morning routines, by the way, if you're listening right now and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what morning routine to do, and I need the perfect morning routine, the one piece of advice that I can give you is there's no such thing as the perfect morning routine, because we grow and we evolve every single day. We become a new version of ourselves, and we have different goals for different days. So sometimes your morning routine needs to shift and change based on who you are that day, what you're doing that day. However, you just want to make sure that you do have something that you do that gets you into that right frame of mind, that gets you into go mode, whatever that is for you. For me, it's I get to get in the pocket. That's what I call it. Like when I'm in the pocket, when I'm in flow, when I'm just in that focused energy of like, let's go, this day is going to be amazing. And it takes work to get there. You got to work kind of hard to make your life easy. So my non-negotiables are, number one, I always make my bed. I do that because that is my little win that I can immediately get. I want to stack wins throughout my day, because wins beget more wins. You create momentum by doing things to get that win, get that dopamine hit. Yes, I made my bed. Let's go. First win of the day. Done. Non-negotiable. And I can do that anywhere I am, whether I'm at a hotel or I'm at home. Doesn't matter. I always do it. Then non-negotiable, I take out my journal and I write down my 3 commitments for the day. I have 3. I've tried this all different ways. I've tried doing a huge dump list. I've tried huge to-do lists. I decided to go with 3 commitments. And the key with these commitments, Craig, is that they're always commitments that I know no matter what I can stick to, because it's not necessarily about getting the thing done. It's more about celebrating the fact that I stick to the commitments I make with myself at the end of the day, because you become more confident the more you can trust in yourself to stick with commitments you make with yourself. So I want to be able to say, I commit to going to the gym today, like simple things that I know that I'll be able to do, but I'm still going to make that commitment. I'm going to stick to it. I commit to doing my Instagram live today. I commit to crushing it on Craig's podcast today, showing up with so much energy and love and bringing the heat, bringing the fire, right? Those are my 3. And I usually end up doing a hell of a lot more than 3 things. But when I go to sleep at night and I look back at my list of my 3 things, I like to check those off the list, and I like to celebrate myself and say, yes, I'm the person that sticks to the commitments that I make with myself. So non-negotiable, I set those 3, and depends what I'm doing that day. Sometimes they're huge commitments and there's big tasks I need to get done. Sometimes there's smaller things that are just like, I'm going to get that win. I'm going to get that win. I'm going to prove to myself that I follow through. And then last but not least, there's other things that I do, but they're not non-negotiables, like my gratitude list, my future gratitude list. I'll do stuff like that, but non-negotiable for me, and I think this is for you as well, Craig, I move my body in some way, shape, or form. I either lift weights and work out and put in a hell of a hard workout in the gym, or I take a walk, or I dance around my apartment, or I do some yoga. Non-negotiable, I move.
Yeah, could we be in any more alignment? I just love you. So there's that. And it's interesting because in life, you don't get what you want. You get what you're committed to, right? Mm-hmm. You're committed to making that list. And I'm just curious, straight off the cuff, how do you prepare these lists? Is it like on a computer, on your phone, or like do you actually handwrite these things?
Just like that. I have a notebook.
I'm so old school, Jen. I have lists everywhere.
I love that.
pen.
You isn't anymore. So in the morning when I'm doing stuff around, like I like to use my phone because I always have it on me,
Yeah.
but I have my journal that sits next to my bed and it stays there. It stays there in the morning and at night because I do now my little evening routine, which I think is even more important than my morning routine. And let me explain why. So that they're tied together, but the evening routine, I know our friend Dave Meltzer always talks about his morning routine starts the night before.
Yep.
And when I go to bed at night, the most important part is the fun part of being able to open my journal and say, I did the thing today. I stuck with my commitments. And then what ends up happening is I can start to put harder commitments on the list because subconsciously throughout the day, I'm just thinking about, I really want to be able to check the things off the list tonight when I go to bed. Like, so I'm going to follow through on this because it's going to feel really good when I can check it off the list. And I'm going to feel bad if I didn't. So the act of before I go to bed, opening my journal and looking at the commitments that I set for the day and the person that I decided I was going to be that day and my intentions that I set, whatever journal exercise I did, but usually it's just those commitments. I'm like, go me. And I have that win. And then I feel really good about going into the next day and writing down the commitments and getting them done because that celebration is probably the most important piece of the puzzle when it comes to succeeding and getting momentum and being fulfilled. And too many people skip over the celebration. Then what's it all for? Like, at least give yourself credit for the hard work that you put in so your subconscious can remember that when you do hard things, it feels really good. And celebrate yourself and honor yourself.
So good because the dopamine hit is contagious. And I feel like momentum is the hardest thing to get and the easiest thing to lose. But once you get that dopamine hit, you want it again. So how do you get it? You cross stuff off the list, right? Literally and physically. And then you just keep doing good things like that. And then you look forward to every night your wind down routine to cross stuff off. And then you cultivate a ton of momentum. And then the wind's at your back.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. This is so good. So many places we could take this conversation. Of course, we're going to dive on about the book, but I just wanted to say, we had you at CLS Live. It feels like it was yesterday, but it was in February. That was so special. You absolutely crushed it. My community, they're obsessed with you. I'm obsessed with you. That was so much fun. Thank you.
That was amazing. Honestly, I speak at a lot of events, and that was a very intimate event. It was so cool to be able to speak at an event in New York City, by the way, the best thing ever to just get in the car, drive right on over. But that was one of my favorite events that I've ever spoken. And that's because of the community that you have created. And the community that you created, you attract what you are. So you attract people based on who you are. And we've always said this. I always say, like, your people are my people. Like, I love your people.
Yep.
But that room was just buzzing with unbelievable energy. It was an amazing stage to speak on. And I'm so grateful that you invited me to have that experience. It was so fun.
Yes, and everybody was lit up. And also one of the things that we did that probably a lot of speakers might not be available for is we made it so, like, instead of going to the green room and then you're done, no one really gets to be intimate with you. Like, the speakers were around all the community. And that's really the best way to connect and build your brand, because then people have an opportunity to relate with you. And that goes a long way.
Oh yeah, I love that. And this is a non-negotiable for me actually when I speak. And you're right, most speakers don't do this. We're doing a big event coming up in October and many speakers are putting in their rider, like they don't want to do Q&A, they don't want to hang out. But I always make a point to come early and leave late when I speak. Because for me, I'm not going to be great on stage if I don't actually connect with some people beforehand that are in the audience. I want to know what they're wondering. I want to get to know who they are so that when I'm on stage, I feel like I'm actually talking to people that I know and not just a room of people that are just watching me. That helps me to be more connected to the audience. And like, if I can even just have one conversation with somebody and I'm like, what are you working on? What are you worried about? Like, what do you want to hear? What do you want to get out of this talk today or this event today? What are you working on? Just that helps me get on stage with a little bit more behind my words, because I'm speaking to someone specifically that told me what they needed. And I can think about that person, and that helps me be a lot less nervous. And it also helps me to deeply connect with everybody in the room by just thinking about that one person. Everybody thinks that they're that one person. And then after is where the magic happens. That's where you learn what people liked. That's where you learn what part of your talk was really good. That's what you learn what people didn't really like. That's where you learn like what people are wanting from you. Your content is created by talking to the people after the talk. Like that's where it is. So I brought a videographer with me and I was having great conversations with people. They're amazing. And they all told me what my next talk should be. People are always like, Jen, what should my talk be about? Or what should my content be about? What should I say? I'm like, listen to your people, ask them what they want. They're coming up to, they're like, I loved this part. And I always record that and I watch it back and I take that feedback from what people gave me immediately after of what they liked and what they didn't like. And I put that into my content later because I know that that's what people want. And then at the same time, you're building community, you're building connections, you're building fans. And why do we do this? We do this to help people. So what's the point of like not getting to be able to connect with the people that you're helping and hear the feedback that you're getting? And it's just so much fun. And you have the best people ever.
First of all, thank you. I feel the same about you, and I couldn't agree more with everything that you said. And one thing that I really put an emphasis on, and the only other person that I see it that puts so much intention into it, like I do, is you. And you understand the big difference between an audience and a community, right? Like an audience is like metrics, and most of it out there is probably fake. But a community is like humans, human interaction, people that really connect with you, and they'll be with you for the long haul. And that's significantly more intimate, I think, and special than just an audience.
Totally. Cultivating community is the most powerful thing that a brand can do because, like you said, it's long game. Audience members, they listen to you and then they leave. But when you create community, it's not just them connecting with you, it's actually creating a space for people to connect with other people. If you can be the person that creates the space for people to connect, which is the number one desire of people, is to feel connected to other people. And we have a severe loneliness epidemic that's happening in the world right now. There's actually there's a minister of loneliness in several different countries because it's such an issue. So people want to connect. And if you can be the anchor, the place where you provide space for like-minded people to connect with each other, and you're the person that's just bringing everybody together and you're creating that, people will stay forever for the connections, for the community, for the network. And that is how you create like long-term brand, long-term success, and not just like, oh, yay, like they bought my thing once and then that's it.
Right. Yeah, I love that. And you're so methodical and intentional with everything that you do. And one of the many things I admire about you, and you often been saying somewhat recently that you envision and your intent is to be the number one motivational speaker in the world. And I imagine there's a reason that you keep doing that. There's an intention. You're not just saying it to say it. I imagine some of it holds you accountability. That's maybe part of your manifestation process. Why do you put such an emphasis on stating that and claiming it?
Believe me, it's hard for me to say that. And even when you say it back to me, I'm like, oh, cringe. It's hard. Okay, so this is for everyone out there that's listening. You need to, I had to change something about what I was doing with this because I kept saying, I really want to be a speaker. Speaking is my favorite thing in the entire world. I don't like doing anything that more than I like being on stage. I used to be an actress and I thought that I was supposed to be, I thought that was my purpose, to be an actress on stage, until I discovered being an entrepreneur and that there was something so much better, which was motivational speaking, where I could use my words and I could inspire people and I could help people with my performance skills. I was like, there's nothing better. So this is what I want to do. And I used to say all the time, I'm going to be a great speaker. I'm going to be a speaker. I'm going to be a great speaker. And that's the conversation that I would have with people. And that was the conversation that I would have with myself and with the universe. But as long as I was stating, I'm gonna be a speaker, it was telling myself that I'm not, and I'm not there yet. And it was holding me back from actually stepping into owning stages and saying, listen, I'll crush it for you on your stage. Bring me on your stage because I'm amazing. It's very hard for people to say that because they don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable. And they also don't want their fear of like other people judging them, like, who are you to say that? And then maybe the fear of not being able to show up to the party and be as great as you say that you are. However, we attract what we are. And so if you step into actually being and stating and saying out loud to the universe what you want and who you are and what you want to become as if it's yours now, and you say it, it's listening. And not only is the universe listening, if you want to go woo, we don't even have to go woo. Strategically, you never know who's listening when you're saying that. I've gotten so many stages because I've had conversations with people where I say, I want to be the greatest motivational speaker of all time. That's my goal. And I've said it online and I say it. It's hard for me to say it, but I'm saying it because someone out there is listening and people are like, oh, I know a stage. I know someone I need to connect you with. Or I'm on a podcast and I say that and someone reaches out. They're like, Jen, I'm going to put you on my stage. I've got you. People are listening. And that's how you create opportunity.
That's a seven-figure strategy for anyone listening and applying, because what Jen is saying is she puts it out there and then she allows like the chessboard of life to move around, right? So someone might have heard, oh, I actually have someone for you to connect with that's looking for speakers right now, or someone looking for a speaker specifically just saw you saying, and they associate you with being a speaker. There's so much magic, and I love how intentional with you are. And to be honest with you, the book, Be Seen, like it segues right into that. When I saw the title for the first time, when we spoke before you announced it, I couldn't think of a more fitting title for your work. Was that easy for you to come up with, or
No,
no?
it's actually really funny how this title came to be, and I
Do
haven't told
tell.
this story on any podcast, so this is a really fun one to be able to tell this story. So anyone that's writing a book, one of the things that I learned from writing a book is that nothing that you originally write usually ends up in the main book. For me, at least, a lot of it didn't end up in the book. A lot of it, the
It's
initial
true.
title, I've had like 4 titles of this book. But the main title of the proposal that I sold to my publisher, the one they bought, was Super Connector, the name of my company. And I didn't love it. And my agent kept saying to me, it's okay, titles change. I'm like, really? They just bought this whole idea. Like, I don't love this title. And let's back up probably like a year prior to this. Okay. This is like a year prior to me having this conversation and getting the book deal and the proposal and everything. I was on a walk with Chris, my husband, and we were downtown in the West Village, and we were walking by this psychic little shop. You know how there's those like little
Of
psychic
course.
shops?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never gotten a psychic reading in my life because I'm
Same.
scared. I'm scared. I don't want them to tell me something that I don't want to hear, and then I'm like subconsciously manifesting it or something.
Same.
Right? I'm like, don't tell me. I don't want to know. I'm just going to manifest my great life and don't
Yes.
do that. Okay. So I've never done it. But Chris, we were having like this lovely date day. It was a beautiful day. He was like, let's go in and get a reading. Come on, I dare you. Let's do it. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, fine. So first time ever, we walk in and we sit down and this woman's like pulling out her cards. I'm petrified. I'm like, I don't even want to be here. She's laying out all the cards. She's looking at me. I tell her nothing, zero. Didn't tell her anything about myself other than like my birthday and my name. And she didn't have a phone. She couldn't Google me. She had no idea who I was or anything other than my birthday and my name. And she looks at me and she goes, you're going to be really successful on a global scale. But what keeps coming to me is you're not until you allow yourself to be seen. And I'm like, what? I'm like, dude, I'm so seen. Like, I'm so seen. I'm like, I teach people how to be seen. I have a course called the Be Seen Accelerator. Like, I teach people how to get in the media. This is what I do for a living. She's like, well, the thing that keeps coming to me is be seen. Be seen. It just, you need to be seen. There's something that is not being seen. It's be seen, be seen, be seen, be seen, be seen. She's saying this over and over again. I'm like, okay, whatever. I go home. I can't sleep that night. I'm like, maybe I'm not being seen enough. Because at that time, I was not posting a lot of video. This was before my Instagram looked like it did. This was when I had very curated just images and everything looked the same. And I was very much hiding behind maybe what you would call like a filtered version of like, being seen, but not really being seen. And I know a lot of people could probably relate to that right now. It's like you're putting out just enough, and I was putting out just enough. And that was the night that I decided to write a book. And then I woke up, but the book was not called Be Seen. It had nothing to do with that. Let's skip to then when I sold Super Connector to the publisher, and I got to go to a little mini mastermind day with some unbelievable authors. Marie Forleo, Gabby Bernstein, who wrote the foreword, Amy Porterfield, Chris Carr. And I got invited to be in this room with these other authors. And we were talking about launching books. And it was my turn to mastermind. And I'm like, oh, my book's called Super Connector. And they're like, I'm like, yeah, I don't like it. I don't know. And I was going to ask them just about strategy for marketing. And they were like, that's not your title. And I'm like, oh, crap, you're right. It's not my title. I don't know what my title is. And I don't remember which one it was, but one of them, and I'll give them all credit for it because we all did it together. But one of them said to me, Jen, what do you help people do? And I'm like, I help people be seen. I didn't think about the psychic. None of that came into my mind. And everyone was like, that's the title of your book, Be Seen. And then all of a sudden I think back and I'm like, oh my God, the psychic from the West Village telling me to be seen. Holy crap, that's the name of the book.
That's awesome.
That's the story of how the book got its name, which is like such a twofold story, but it really, like, the process of writing the book and then starting to be seen between the time of seeing that psychic and then releasing the book out into the world, I definitely took down the filter and I was just so unbelievably seen. And the book is really like just the story of that and all the things that I learned along the way of how to not just be seen by an audience and a community, but to really see yourself and allow yourself to see yourself as the person that you want people to see you as, which is the most fulfilled version of you, or you 2.0.
There's so much to unpack there. Where do we begin? right? And I was going to ask you, I think most people associate you with an entrepreneur and building an audience, so they would probably think that be seen means for that, but you just nailed it. It's for yourself. And what does that lead to, right? And that's so beautiful. Even me, like when I reinvented myself, I had no following, nothing. I'm an introvert. And I started to finally showcase who I am, the weirdness, the strangeness. And I made one promise to myself that I'm going to go all in with this thing. And there's no guarantee, but for the first time, I'm going to guarantee that I'm going to be myself. And at least if I fail, I failed being myself, even though I didn't think I'd fail. And ironically, once I did that and own that, the world began to see me. And so I love that your book is so much more than an entrepreneur just getting visibility in the media. This book is for everybody.
I just got goosebumps when you said that, because you are the exact person that I wrote the book for.
Yeah.
You did. It is actually, like, I would say the entrepreneurial piece of the book, the actual strategy is a very small part. The whole first two parts of the book, the first part is called Be Courageous. The second part is called Be Creative. And the third part is Be Connected. And the fourth part is Be Visible. So Be Courageous and Be Creative are all about having the courage to see who you really are, and showcase the weirdness, the messiness, the start that you had, who you truly are, being imperfect, taking imperfect action, really understanding how to work with fear, not necessarily become fearless, but fear a little bit less. And then being creative is creating the future that you want and deciding that it's yours already. And that's where, the law of attraction plays in. All of my stories that helped me to really become the person that I've become and I'm still becoming. And then creating the community that's going to help you be seen, that's going to see you for who you are, right? Your ride or die people. And then using all of that you've done, figuring out who you really are, seeing yourself, seeing your future that you want to create, seeing your community, letting them see you. Then you can strategize on how to build an audience and really build a brand. And that's the final part of the book.
Hell yeah. And so much to unpack with that too. But I want to go backwards for 1 second. I love that you shared as a part of the story when you came with the title that you were masterminding, right? And there's such power in being around big thinkers and no egos and people that can elevate and just give you a different perspective. And they asked you, like, and you just collected the data and you basically said it yourself, like, what are you known for? Like, what do you help people do? Be seen, right? But it came from other people extracting out of you. And I love that you're so into, isn't that so important to be around people like that and put your ego aside and be like, I don't feel so good about this. What do you think?
Oh, that's how everything that I've learned about business, it has been from I guess you could call it masterminding. You don't even have to call it that word. Connecting with other people and being around other people and talking to people and going to events and putting myself in the room and asking people for help. I'm constantly on my phone asking my other entrepreneurial friends, what would you do here? And knowing that I do not have the answers. Like I didn't know how to launch a book. I still am figuring it out, right? And I knew I needed to get into the room with other people who have done it. You and I, let's have that connection, me and you. We're going to say it up here on the podcast live in front of everybody. We'll be each other's accountability buddy. If you're sitting here listening and you feel alone in the space of business, you don't have to feel that way. There are so many other people that are doing the same thing, and they're also looking for people that they can connect with and be real with and be authentic with and bounce ideas off with. You just have to put yourself in the rooms where those people are. And it takes a little bit of effort. You got to find those events. Both of us have masterminds and communities and events where you can go find those people. So just reach out. But it's the number one most important thing. People always ask me, like, what's your number one piece of advice for becoming successful? I'm like, it's people, it's connections, it's people. All the other stuff just helps you to take action to make those connections and those relationships. Every opportunity always comes from a person.
100%. I could not agree more. So beautiful. And it's just awesome being around other people. And I was saying to my community today on my membership call, which you've been a guest in, like, as you continue to grow and spread your wings, I get asked all the time, imagine you do too, like, how do you set boundaries or how do you distance yourself from people from the past? And I just said today, like, gravitate towards people that have a common future of you, not a common past, right? And you're hanging out with people that have successful books and are just doing big things on the same frequency, and that's contagious.
Yeah, for sure. It's not easy to go through that piece. I think we've both probably gone through it, where you've been around one group of people for a very long time with one mindset, and then you start to kind of fade out of that and you start to have a different mindset and you start to care about different things, but they stay the same, and that's fine for them and that's amazing for them. But you can't force anybody to come on your journey with you. And sometimes it's okay to give yourself permission to go into a new season of your life. And some people are in your life for a specific season and a specific reason, and that's a-okay. And you can move on and you can open space for new people to come in. And the cool thing about that is you don't necessarily have to end relationships. Like, I learned this. I didn't have to just cut off relationships and be like, I'm not going to be friends with you anymore. What I just did was I started to take the time that I had and I spent it investigating how I could build relationships with people that I wanted to have in my future. And when I started putting my time and energy in that arena and in that bucket and like in that way, it took away the time that I would spend with the other group. So slowly but surely, the friendship just started to naturally, they didn't want to hang out with me either. And then when you open up space for more people to come in by letting go of space from people that aren't necessarily on the same vibe as you, you can create a whole new community. And it doesn't have to be some dramatic ending of a friendship. You can just slowly start to build your future by connecting with people that align with your new thoughts and who you are now. And we change every single day. So it's okay to reinvent and to surround yourself with different people at different phases of life.
Amen. Couldn't have said better myself. Love all of this. One thing that you do so well, and I'm so excited for everyone to read about it in the book, is you do such a good job of marrying the woo with the practical, right? Like you just mentioned like there's 4 steps in your book: be courageous,
Yeah.
creative, connected, and visible. And those are like practical steps, almost like a methodology that someone could take. And then you combine that with the manifesting and so forth. The first one is be courageous. I think I see this is the hardest step for people, is to cultivate that 20 seconds of courage, because sometimes that's all it takes, and then lean into it. Why do people struggle with that so much that they don't even get started?
Man, I think that the fear is always going to be there. You know that. We talk to a lot of really successful people. Some of the people that I admire more than anything, I always ask them, like, does the fear ever go away? They're like, no, it never goes away. Fear is always going to be there. Fear is actually something amazing. If you can use it, it can work for you, actually. Because when you're feeling fear, it means you're headed in the right direction, especially in the entrepreneurial space. When you're building something, it means you're stretching, it means you're growing, it means you're headed into the unknown. It means that the thing on the other side is either going to be something that causes a hell of a lot of growth. Maybe it's not the outcome you want, but it gives you growth. It gives you something that you needed. Or you're going in a direction that's going to give you exactly what you want, but it's going to be hard to get there, because if it was easy, everybody would do it. So fear is an amazing, powerful thing. However, it can keep us from taking action. And I talk about the symptoms of fear, and fear can be very sneaky and it can lie to us, and it can disguise itself as different things to keep us from moving forward and taking action. Some of those symptoms are perfectionism. It'll say, oh, you can't do it until it's perfect. So just wait until it's perfect and then you can do it, right? But perfect never comes. We know that. There's no such thing. But that's fear, because fear's job is to keep you the same, to hold you back. So as long as you're in perfectionism mode, you're not going to take action. Analysis paralysis. Oh my God, there's so many options. I don't know which one to pick. I want to pick the perfect one. I'm too overwhelmed. I'm just not going to do anything. That's fear. Imposter syndrome, feeling like you're not good enough. That's fear. Feeling that I'm not ready, I'm too overwhelmed, that I don't have the time. It's all fear, because it's all stopping you from moving forward. So what I like to do, and what I've told a lot of other people to do, and they've said, thank you, Jen, I've done this successfully, thank God. So I know that it's not just me, it helps other people too, to take action with fear there anyway, is I talk to fear. And I literally have a conversation with it, because it's going to be there. And so I envision that it's like there with me. I'm like, what's up, fear? Thank you for telling me that it needs to be perfect before I put it out there. I appreciate you. I know that you're just trying to keep me safe, but here's the thing. You're going to go in the passenger seat of the car. Okay. I'm going to put you there. You're going to be in the passenger seat of the car. Buckle your seatbelt. I'm driving. You can come along. I know you're going to be there. Like, understand that it's going to be there. Put your arm around it. Like, embrace it. Fear is going to empower you and show you the direction that you need to go, but you don't need to listen to its bullshit. You do not need to listen. So I say, you can't touch the radio. You can't touch the steering wheel. You can do whatever the hell you want there, but I'm in control. And I find that the more I talk to it and I tell it, like, shut up, but you can come along with me, and I embrace that it's going to be there anyway, the more that I take away its power and I can take action anyway.
So good. And you speak about so many cool things that really hit home. And I love when you tell a story about putting fear in the passenger seat, because you're not saying completely get rid of it, because that would be irresponsible. But how can we manage it?
Yeah.
Right? How can we overcome it and maybe use it to our advantage?
Yeah. Use it for us. Fear, it can be our friend if we really like harness it and allow it to work with us instead of allowing it to do like what it wants to do, which is keep us the same.
Yeah, love all this. I don't want to give away too much because I'm so excited for everybody to read this book. But in step 2, you talk about getting creative. And I imagine there's some people out there that are listening right now and they want to grab your book and they think you could help them a lot. And we both know that you can, but they're like, I'm not creative. Do you have to be born creative, or is that a skill set that you can develop?
Of course, you can develop creativity. I believe that you can. And we all have that inner creativity. And what I mean by be creative in the book is it's about what I teach, the creation process of creating the life that you want and creating the existence that you want to have and creating the reality that you really desire and creating the you 2.0 version of yourself so that you can be seen as the person living in that fulfillment, living in the pocket and living that life that you truly desire. And we all can be creative when it comes to creating our lives. If you sit down and you just let yourself go, like you said, you have all those lists and the paper and everything. Maybe when you wake up in the morning, taking out a journal and just envisioning what your life would be like if you could do anything. And that's creativity right there. Let it fly and see what comes out. Allow it to just move through you and write it down on a piece of paper. If you could have anything in the world, what would a perfect day look like for you? And then the more important thing is not just to think about it and plan it out, but to say, okay, what are some action steps that I can take in order to create some of these things? But once you know like what it looks like and you're clear on what the vision is and you can see it, you have a hell of a lot better chance at taking action to create it.
Absolutely love this. My puppy is dying to say hello to you. So that's
Is he there?
it's going a little crazy. It's authentic. It's what's happening in real time.
This
What's
is
also
real.
what's also happening in real time is as we're having this unbelievable conversation in Manhattan, we have the worst air pollution in the history of the world right now, which is pretty crazy.
It's pretty crazy. Like I'm sure your dog's going crazy because he can't go outside. And my dog has 3 dogs.
Yeah.
They're losing their minds. Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening right now. Yeah.
Hi,
Trying
puppy.
to Whiskey, do you want to say hi? I noticed that you and Chris have been talking a lot about AI, and I think that's awesome because I know everybody has an opinion about it, but what you should always look to do is remove the emotion from it and see how it might be able to benefit you or how you might be able to benefit other people with it. So in a nutshell, what is your guys' stance on AI?
Oh, I think AI, we're in the most exciting time in the world ever. Like it is so unbelievably exciting. The head of Google said that we haven't had something so profound since the invention of fire. This is going to change.
Really?
Yes. The CEO of Google said that. So this is going to change the way the world works forever. And I know that that can be very scary for people. And I hear you, I see you, I feel you for sure. There's a lot of unknowns with that. However, the best way to take away fear's power is to educate yourself. And I think that everyone should be playing with it because there's a lot of really amazing things that it can do to make your life easier, to make your content better, to make you more creative, to help you get ideas, to help you work a lot more proficiently and get things done a lot faster and scale. There's so many amazing things that it can do for you. And if you're scared of it, the best way is to just get rid of that fear, or not necessarily get rid of it, but like be a little less scared, is to start to play with it and get to know it and understand it. So Chris and I are doing these challenges every single month where we're teaching people in a really easy way to understand how they can start to use AI in their daily lives and in their businesses to scale, to create content, to make things easier. And so they can feel like they're in the forefront. We're still so early. So if everyone can just jump on, like if I could say anything to the business owners right now, like, wouldn't it be amazing if you could go back in time and start an Instagram account and know the algorithm and know how to crush it right when it was invented? How much more successful would you be today?
Forget about it.
Forget about it. We all wish we started our Instagram accounts right when it came out and we're really doing it and creating content and doing the algorithm and doing it the right way. The people that did that now have really big communities. So I would recommend that this is the beginning of AI. So this is your chance to jump in and start utilizing some of these tools to give you a head start above everybody else right now.
Yeah, I think that's beautifully said. And regardless of what you think about it, right? Like form your own opinion. And honestly, what is a little creepy is that this is just the beginning. And like, I think that most people didn't think we'd be here for maybe 10, 20 years from now. It's crazy to see what's available and where this is going. But a lot of credible people such as yourself are jumping on board and utilizing it to collapse time and benefit from it. And just like anything, right? I imagine there's people that probably still don't like social media. And as a result, won't expand their business or create visibility or form relationships because they're so skeptical of that. So it's not really about liking or not. Form your own opinion, get educated. And Jen and Chris, you guys do a really good job of doing challenges and showcasing some of the benefits that people can have when they utilize it.
Exactly. Yeah, just educate yourself. And I love that. Form your own opinion. But the more that you're educated, the better opinion you can form. And I promise you, some of the tools are just awesome. It just makes life so much easier. It's like having an assistant with you all the time.
Yeah, I absolutely love it.
Hi, Whiskey.
Whiskey, do you want to say hi to Jen? Yes or no? No, he's shy. He's going crazy. To be honest with you, I've never seen him go this crazy.
He knows there's something going on outside.
Yeah, and he also feels your good positive energy.
Well, I love him.
Yeah, so there's that. In regards to the book, I wanted to ask you because our community, our audience has a lot of entrepreneurs and so forth, and I always hear different answers to this question. I know mine, and I'm so excited to hear yours. I know the audience will be too. How was the process of actually writing the book for you?
The process was actually easy and fun. And I know that we just had a conversation before we press record. And I think it's a really important conversation to actually have on record, because there's a lot of people
Yes.
that are going to write a book, that want to write a book. And when I said I was going to write a book, the first thing everybody said to me was, it's going to be really hard. It's going to be really taxing. It's going to be really, really difficult. And I'm like, wow, okay. But we get to decide if something's hard or if it's easy. It's perspective. So if you go into something saying this is going to be really hard, then I bet you would start to look at it in a way and see everything being really difficult. But I made a conscious decision with writing the book, and you helped me make a conscious decision just now about marketing the book. But I decided that it was going to be easy and fun. And every single day that I went down and I sat down to write, I said to myself, this is easy and fun. This is easy and fun, and I love this, and I'm telling my stories, and I'm talking to one person. And what really helped me write is I envisioned my girl that I was writing the book for. I picked one person. She happened to be a girl, but this book is for guys and girls. In my mind, her name was Kayla. I knew exactly who she was, what she did for a living, what her pain points were, what she was worried about. And I wrote to her. Like she was sitting right in front of me and I was talking to her. And it became so fun because I wasn't just writing into the oblivion. I was talking to somebody and I was helping them. So it was easy and it was fun because I decided that it was going to be. And I did everything in my power to make it that way by changing the tape that was playing in my mind and telling the universe and telling myself and my subconscious mind that writing is easy and fun. So it was. So now we're going to take the marketing of the book and we're going to make that easy and fun as well.
Yeah, and I promise to fulfill that accountability for both of us, because the whole point of us both writing a book is to serve and give back and create something special and magical that can actually help a lot of people. And it's so easy to get caught up in the noise of bestseller campaigns and it has a certain amount of numbers. And just to be clear, like, do a thing, do it well. Of course, you want it to do well, but the main reason why you wanted to do well is because that means the book ended up in a lot of hands, in a lot of households, and that's how it makes the biggest impact possible. So I'm with you. And then also just based upon energies and vibrations, which you know better than anybody, like you want to go at it with the right energy, right? Otherwise, sometimes you can create some resistance and blockages. And thank you for sharing the book process. Mine was relatively easy too once I set up a system for myself. And I imagine, I don't know if you're thinking about book number 2, whatever the case may be, but I imagine your process, you could probably duplicate that if and when there was a second book.
For sure. Yes. There's a great podcast. I think it's on Tim Ferriss, but I think that he talks about this a lot. Jerry Seinfeld gave me some great writing advice from some kind of podcast I listened to that he was on. And he said, because he's one of the greatest writers ever of all time, wrote, oh my God, the show Seinfeld, and he's an amazing comedian. And his daughter's actually is writing. And the advice that he gave to his daughter is, don't you dare ever sit down to write without giving yourself an end to your writing time. So if you sit down to write and you're just like, I'm just going to write until whenever, then it can become very torturous because you don't know when you're done. Just like what we were talking about in the beginning of this podcast with having the win and checking it off the list. He's like, always give yourself a specific time and say, when this time is up, no matter what I've written, whether it's a sentence, 2 sentences, or a full book, I am done for the day. So when I gave myself that container, like, okay, I'm going to write for an hour right now. We'll see what comes out. When I'm done, I'm done. And then if I don't get it today, then tomorrow I'll try another hour. And what that did was it just gave me the freedom to be like, okay, I know that I can do this for 1 hour. And then I didn't feel bad when I didn't get it done, because it was like, I knew that this was the container of writing. And I don't know, that was just a really helpful tool when it came to actual like technical strategy to writing.
Yeah. So beautiful. I love that. We'll end up playing with this final nugget. And I imagine this is going to lead way into us suggesting everybody grab the book. In fact, grab another one. Grab one for somebody that you love that you think it could really benefit. That'd be my advice. What advice, Jen, would you give to someone? And I know a lot of people like this in my community that might be struggling of not wanting to be seen.
Yeah. Well, if you have a service or a story or a product that helps people, and you are getting great results for people, and you're changing people's lives with whatever it is that you do, whether it's a story that you tell that you experienced in your life, or a product you've created, or a service that you provide, if you're not making yourself visible to those people and they're not able to find you, then those people are going to go pay someone else or listen to someone else or hire someone else who isn't as good as you and doesn't care as much as you, simply because you're not making yourself visible to them. So essentially, it's actually kind of selfish. And I say that with so much love, but it's your responsibility to be seen if you help people with something that you have. Otherwise, they can't find you.
It's not your opinion, it's your responsibility. That's beautiful. And also, even more so, like, even if you don't have a product or service, but you feel a tug at your soul that you're meant to do something, like, what have you been denying? What have you been putting off? That then this book is also for you. And I think that covers everybody.
For sure. Yeah. Maybe there's something that you always wanted to do since you were a kid, and somewhere along the line of growing up, the shoulds came in, and your parents or someone that loved you, cared about you, and wanted the best for you, they came in, they're like, you shouldn't do that. You should really pursue this. And then before you know it, you wake up and you're living a life that you didn't want, that you created based on the shoulds, based on what other people told you. And you have this desire deep down in your gut to create something different, and to create, the second part of my book is all about being creative and creating the life of your dreams. Create something different for yourself. You have to see who you really are, and then see that version of yourself in order to be seen as it and create it into existence, into reality. So this book is for that person too. And if you have that tug, keep listening to Craig. That's all I have to say. Like, just keep listening to Craig. There's not a lot of people out there that I'm like, no, you need to listen to this, or that. Like, there's not many of them. Craig is one of them. He's the real deal. And if you're listening to this podcast, then you're in the right place. Just keep listening, and you'll keep taking one action step, one step at a time, to creating that thing that you know that you're meant to be here to do.
As if I couldn't love you anymore. And I just want to say this, when I think of your book and your message right now, I think of that song from The Greatest Showman, This Is Me. And it's seen and owning it and showcasing your authentic gifts to the world. And I don't know why that just correlated, but it's so beautiful.
I love that song. So yeah, you're speaking my language. I listen to that soundtrack probably every single day of my life when I go to the gym.
Yeah, Sam. So we're going to drop this episode when the book comes out. So this is probably a silly question, but where can everyone grab the book? I imagine everywhere.
Everywhere you get books. Yeah, Be Seen. You can go to beseenbook.com if you want to get any bonuses if you order the book, and then it's for pre-order, but we'll leave it up there. And you can put your order number into the website and get all the bonuses, which are pretty dope. And yeah, beseenbook.com or anywhere you get books.
And then also, you mentioned an event earlier. Can people get access to that, or sold out?
It's not so well. I don't know if it'll be sold out by the time this releases. When this releases, the event will be over. But there will, because this will release October 31st. Our event's October 20th, 21st, and 22nd. But Craig, if you want to tell your people about the event.
Yeah, done. And if they can't get in this one, they should definitely get in the next one.
For sure.
Yeah. I love you so much. Love everything that you do for the world. I love our friendship. Hang up for 1 sec. I want to connect with you after. Jen, I want you to know you're the definition of being in alignment, manifestations, and unbelievable energy. I could personally guarantee your best is yet to come. Keep on spreading your wings and leaving your mark on this world. So much love and respect for you. Thank you so much for stopping by and dropping these priceless, juicy nuggets today.
I love you. Thank you for having me. This was so fun. This made my whole week.
You're the best.
Dude.
So good.
You're the best. Like it's so crazy. I feel like you're like family. Like, and we don't even talk that
Yeah,
much. But
I
there's
know.
some people that you just feel connected to. Like,
I'll never forget that moment we just both hopped on the Zoom. And it was like, it was crazy.
that was weird. Like I got emotional. Like I felt safe.
Yeah. My dog's going nuts. My bad, but I have
Okay.
a dog, it's all
Dude, I
good.
have 3 of them, and they just are losing their minds all day, every day. They're just not in the room right now. If they were here, it would be the
Do you
same.
remember when they were puppies?
Yeah.